Okay, so this is Insights channel or Insights publication. Someone was asking what we call this channel. Insights publication, that's what my website is, Insights publication, and that's got all the information about my books. That is www.insightspublication.com. Find out everything about my 12 books and the 13th book that I'm working on. Don't know what I'm going to call that one yet, but that's going to be about history, especially over the last 250 years, and the extreme corruption of history and the altering of history, which I hope will be a very interesting book for people to read. Anyway, on today's subject, I'm going to continue what I was doing last time because I got a lot of attention, at least for my channel. I got a lot of attention with my book Enoch Insights, and I covered chapters 5 to 7 last time, and today I'm going to cover from chapter 8, 9, 10 and 11 to continue this story, this very important story of the book of Enoch. I consider the book of Enoch to be one of the most important books to know in our present times, and it's been prophesied that the book of Enoch would become well known in the last days, in the time of the end. And I think it's happening. A lot of people are interested in the book of Enoch. And I think a lot of people are interested in the book of Enoch because it's supernatural. And Enoch knew so many things that he couldn't possibly know. He talks about things he couldn't possibly know about 5,000 years ago. Well, according to the education we've been given at school and that, he shouldn't know all those things, and yet he does. And that makes the book fascinating because it predicts exactly how it's going to be in our time, in the last days. So I would encourage you, indeed, do get hold of my Insights books, and in particular Enoch Insights and Secrets of Enoch Insights, both books based on the books of Enoch, because they have an amazing amount of useful information that's true. Not fantasy, not AI stuff, not made up stuff, not half truth and half drama and half Hollywood. Not like that at all, but the real stuff, the real truth. That's why I suggest everybody, please do get my books, the Insights books, because in my books I've just tried to tell people the truth. I'm not interested in fantasy and AI to the point of, don't get me wrong, I'm not against AI. I think that a lot of people use AI to make very interesting things, very interesting documentaries from which I'm benefiting and studying them for my new book on history. Very good AI-made videos. But I'm just concerned, because I'm concerned that, as others are worried about, AI taking over, or, taking over man's ability, his creative ability, which I don't think is a good thing. We don't want AI replacing mankind. Well, what is predicted about that? Anyway, I hope you will listen again today to my book, Enoch Insights, as I read you the next few chapters and make some new comments. So here we go. Here we have chapter 8 from Enoch Insights, based on the first book, Enoch. Verse 1. And Azazel, as one of those fallen angels, taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates. This is where the wars began. And made known to them the metals of the earth, and the art of working with them, and bracelets and ornaments, the use of antimony, the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones, and all colouring tinctures. Comment 1. Men were taught to make war for the first time, and shown how to make effective weapons. Women were taught how to beautify themselves and to be experts at seducing both men and angels. Verse 2. And there arose much godlessness, of course this taught pre-flood times, and they committed fornication, and they were led astray, and became corrupt in all their ways. Jasher taught enchantments and root cuttings. APOCRYPHAL taught astrology. Kokabel, the constellations. Ezekiel, the knowledge of the clouds. Araquiel, signs of the earth. Shamsiel, signs of the sun. Sariel, the course of the moon. As men perished, they cried, and their cry went up to heaven. Comment 2. The angels that fell didn't all fall at the same time, but were often seduced. It would seem that the fallen angels acted more like very spoilt 17-year-olds who tend to crash and burn with their philosophy of whatever goes, whatever's the excitement of the moment, without any consideration of the consequences of their foolhardy and sometimes dangerous pranks and dares. I remember. Those into extreme sports, and indeed the champions, are often around 17 years old. It is as if at that age, teenagers often don't really care if they live or die, judging by their behavior. Here's a fact. 70% of fatalities in car accidents in the UK are 17 years old. Of course, not all 17-year-olds are daredevils. It says about the fallen angels that they rebelled before they had even risen as stars. In other words, they were very young and inexperienced. Such a sad story. They ended up as devils, and their giant progeny upon their physical death as demons, roaming the earth to this day. Genesis 6:2. That the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and he took them wives of all which they chose. Result of the above: fornication, and the whole earth became corrupt in all their ways, and eventually there was total anarchy. 1 Corinthians 11:10. And for this cause ought the women to have power on her head because of the angels. Comment 3. This verse shows clearly that even in Paul's day, 2,000 years ago, he was concerned about the fallen angels and their lust for women, and thus he warned the women to keep their heads covered. Not that that would make much difference, as if the fallen angels were like supermen, then they could probably see right through the women's clothes, no doubt. Chapter 9. Then Michael, Uriel, Rephaim, and Gabriel looked down from heaven and saw much blood being shed upon the earth, and all lawlessness being wrought upon the earth. And they said one to another, the earth made without inhabitant cries the voice of their crying up to the gates of heaven. Now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men make their suit, saying, bring our cause before the Most High. And they said to the Lord of ages, Lord of lords, God of gods, King of kings, and God of ages, the throne of thy glory stands unto all the generations of the ages, and thy name holy and glorious and blessed unto all the ages. Revelation 19:16. And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of kings and Lord of lords. Verse 3. Thou hast made all things, and power over all things hast thou. And all things are naked and open in thy sight. You see all, nothing can hide itself from thee. You see what Azazel had done, who had taught all unrighteousness on the earth, revealed the eternal secrets which were preserved in heaven, which men were striving to learn. And Jasher, to whom thou hast given authority to bear rule over his associates. And they have gone to the daughters of men upon the earth, and slept with their women, and have defiled themselves, and revealed to them all kinds of sins. And the women have begotten giants, and the whole earth has thereby been filled with blood and unrighteousness. And now behold, the souls of those who have died are crying, making their suit to the gates of heaven. and their lamentations have ascended and cannot cease because of the lawless deeds that are wrought on the earth. Imagine how awful it was on the earth. And you know all things before they come to pass, and you see these things and you do suffer them. And you do not say to us what we are to do to them in regard to these. Comment 1. It's very interesting to see here how that God was apparently waiting until his top officers, or archangels, had realized just how evil the earth had become and came to report to him about it. God doesn't usually do things suddenly and rashly without involving the counsel of others. Lamentations 3:33. For he doth not afflict willingly, nor grieve the children of men. In 2 Peter 3:9. The Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but is long-suffering to us, not willing that any should perish, all should come to repentance. Comment 2. In the above verse, it's almost as if God has been thinking and pondering his options concerning the horrors of violence going on down below on the earth, when his angels mention the very grave nature and condition of the fallen earth to God. It triggers a pre-planned response from God himself. It's almost as if he was saying, I've been waiting for you archangels to be concerned enough about the situation on earth to challenge me to do something about it. And of course, he immediately reacted strongly. Chapter 10. Then said the Most High, the Holy and Great One, spoke and sent Uriel to the son of Lamech, and said to him, Go tell Noah, tell him in my name, hide thyself, and reveal to him the end is approaching, that the whole earth will be destroyed, and a deluge is about to come upon the whole earth. I will destroy all that is upon it. Is that what's going to happen again? So, first time by water, next time it's supposed to be by fire. Genesis 6:11. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt. All flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. Genesis 6:13. And God said unto Noah, The end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Jubilees 5:19. All those who corrupted their ways and their thoughts before the flood, no man's person was accepted save that of Noah alone. Now instruct him that he may escape and his seed may be preserved for all the generations of the world. And again the Lord said to Raphael, Bind Azazel hand and foot, cast him in the darkness, and make an opening in the desert, which is in Dudael. Cast him therein, place upon him rough, jagged rocks, cover him with darkness, let him abide there forever, cover his face, he may not see light. Jude 1:6. And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, is reserved in everlasting chains under darkness, unto the judgment of the great day. See, there's the book of Enoch mentioned in the book of Jude in the New Testament. Comments 1. Concerning verses 1 and 2, go to Noah. Observe that officially, according to certain biblical time charts, Noah was not actually alive at the same time as Enoch, but was born some 90 years after the death of Enoch. How is it then possible that God told his archangel Uriel, or Ariel, to go to Noah in the book of Enoch chapter 10 verses 1 and 2? This conundrum can actually be solved, but I understand that Enoch never actually died, but was translated to the heavenly plane. Let's consider what this could possibly mean. Hebrews 11:5. By faith Enoch was translated, should not see death, and was not found, because God had translated him. For before his translation he had this testimony that he pleased God. Enoch 12:1. Before these things Enoch was hidden, and no man knew where he was hidden. Comment 2. Intercessor. It's my conviction that Enoch was translated for a very important reason by God himself. Even as Jesus was to become our intercessor before God in the New Testament, Enoch was also some type of an intercessor between fallen angels and God himself. According to the book of Enoch and other apocryphal books, Enoch was indeed very special. I would venture to say that God deliberately chose Enoch to be a sort of go-between the heavenly spirit world and the physical dimension of earth, including under the earth and hell and Tartarus itself. The world was kept pretty much in subjection for the 243 years that Enoch reigned on the earth. After God shortened his lifespan to only 365 years, well, shortened it from what the people normally lived back then to be 900 plus. Imagine living to be 900 plus and 100 years old, you're considered a child. That's what it says about the coming millennium. It will go back to being that way. The golden age is to come. Well, after God shortened his lifespan to only 365 years, with only a couple of centuries, the world had been totally corrupted, was violent, totally perverse, mankind having been led astray by the fallen angels and the sons of giants, who subjugated mankind as much as they could. Enoch, never having physically died in pre-flood times, is matched in very similar details to Elijah being taken up to heaven in a whirlwind in the Old Testament, 2 Kings 2:1. And it came to pass, when the Lord would take up Elijah into heaven by a whirlwind, Elijah went with Elisha from Gilgal. Elisha, who did not die physically, but was later prophesied to come back. And Jesus said John the Baptist was Elijah, Mark 9:11-13. With that in mind, it makes more sense that Enoch could have indeed been a go-between the spiritual realm and the physical. See the appendix in my book for more. Jasher 3:27-29. At that time the sons of men were with Enoch, and the likeness of a great horse paced in the air. And Enoch said, on my account does this horse descend upon the earth. The time has come when I must go from you. Jubilees 4:23. Other apocryphal books. And he, Enoch, was taken from amongst the children of men to the Garden of Eden. For there he wrote down the judgment of the world. Comment 4. An amazing amount of information was revealed to Enoch by God and his angels during his lifetime. Later in chapter 14, in this book, the book of Enoch, we will see that Enoch approached God's throne and he was asked to revisit the earth in order to chastise the watchers, or the fallen angels, for their iniquities by God himself. As mentioned before, Enoch apparently acted as some sort of pre-flood intercessor between God and man, and in this case even fallen angels. This is further evidence in the book of Enoch chapter 65, where Noah was desperate for answers. He looked for Enoch and found him at the ends of the earth. In Enoch chapter 106 verse 8, Methuselah was also trying to find Enoch after he had been translated, also found him at the ends of the earth. In later chapters I will talk about the ends of the earth and where I think it could be. Again, see the appendix. Verse 3. And on the day of the great judgment he shall be cast into the fire, and heal the earth which the angels have corrupted. Proclaim the healing of the earth, that they may heal every plague. Well, it says when he's cast into the fire, he's talking about one of the head fallen angels there. And that all the children of men may not perish through all the secret things which the watchers, fallen angels, have disclosed and taught their sons. And the whole earth has been corrupted through the works that were taught by this guy, Azazel. To him ascribe all sin. The final fate of Satan and his band of fallen angels. Revelation 21. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, bound him 1,000 years, cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, should deceive the nations no more, till 1,000 years should be fulfilled. After that, he must be loosed a little season. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, good riddance, bad rubbish, where the beast and the false prophet are, shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. And Gabriel said to the Lord, proceed against the bastards and the reprobates, talking about the fallen angels, and against the children of fornication, destroy the children of fornication, the children of the watchers, who are amongst men, cause them to go forth. Here it's talking about the giants, how to get rid of the giants. Send them one against the other, they may destroy each other in battle. For length of days they should not have. Here God is telling his angels to go forth and provoke the giants to fight one against the other until they're all made an end of. So the ancient mythological stories of the Greeks and Romans are real after all. It happened both before and after the great flood. 6. And no request that they make of thee shall be granted unto their fathers on their behalf, for they hope to live 500 years. And the Lord said unto Michael, go bind Jasher and his associates, who united themselves with women, so have been defiled with them in all their uncleanness. And their sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones. Bind them for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth, to the day of their judgment, and the consummation to the judgment that is forever consummated. Well, this chapter goes on and on, very interesting, but I ask you to get hold of my book, Insights and Secrets, Insights, to get the full story. And that's where I'll stop in that chapter there. That was chapter 10. So today I read from chapters 8, 9 and 10 from my book, Enoch Insights. And if you want to know more about my books, you can go on my website, www.insightspublication.com. And I would encourage you to get hold of all of my Insights books, of which there are 10 Insights books, and I also have 2 books on the paranormal called Out the Bottomless Pit, books 1 and 2, where it lists a lot of the strange things going on this planet, and why and who's behind them, and in history. And then my Apocryphal books, starting with Enoch Insights, then Esdras Insights, Jasher Insights, book 1 and 2, Jubilees Insights, Eden Insights, about the lost books of Adam and Eve, Testaments of 12 Patriarchs Insights, Secrets of Enoch Insights, Wisdom Insights. And that one's talking about Holy Spirit being feminine. Okay, thanks for listening. Bye for now.